Hi, welcome to or back to my booktube channel. Today I'm going to go through the books that I read in February and then what I am planning or hoping to read in March. I read 5 books in February and for the most part it was a pretty decent reading month. Most of these were 4 stars or higher, with the exception of one of them. The first book I finished was A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This is a fantasy book where the country that they live in is divided in half and split amongst 2 clans. In one of the clans, a bunch of little girls start going missing, and so our main character gets called back from the mainland to his home country to try and help solve the mystery of the missing girls. There's elemental magic involved, and overall I really did enjoy it. It took me a while to get into, but once I really got into it, I couldn't really put it down. I think the downside for me on this was I listened to a majority of it on audio, and I did not like the audiobook. I thought the audiobook, I just didn't like the narrator of the audiobook. I didn't think that they did a very good job. I enjoyed it a lot more once I picked up the physical book and started reading. So this was a 4-star book for me. The next book that I finished in February was The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I'm sure you've seen this book all over the place. People keep raving about it, and for good reason. Listen to everybody when they say to read this because it really is very, very good. It's about a young woman from the Midwest, and she falls in love with figure skating and uses figure skating as a way for her and her best friend to escape their home life in the Midwest. They're not a very well-off family. They come from a very tough living situation. She uses their athletic ability to escape that, and they begin competing and training for the Olympics. The female character is torn between her love for figure skating and her love for her best friend and figure skating partner, and it spans like this 20-year timeline. If you are a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, I think you would really enjoy this because it reads in a similar fashion where these are all fictional people. It's written in a way where you feel like these are real people and that this is a real account of something that happened. So right away this was an automatic 5-star read for me, and it was my favorite book that I read this month. The next book I read was a very highly anticipated new release. There's a couple of them on here actually, and that would be Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I can't say I've read too much from Ali Hazelwood. I've read Bride, Not in Love, her short little Christmas novella, and now Deep End. And I enjoyed this too. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's about a student athlete at Stanford. She is a diver, and she is trying to overcome a physical injury that she sustained while diving that has since resulted in a mental block and leaving her unable to perform the dives that she needs to in order to win her competitions. And she ends up connecting with a male swimmer, and they form a physical relationship with one another. I thought the relationship between the 2 of them was really cute, how their strictly physical relationship turned into an actual real relationship, and I enjoyed the story outside of their physical relationship as well. The main character, her name is Scarlett. She's going to therapy and trying to figure out essentially what's wrong with her, why she's unable to perform these dives, and she's solving issues within herself and just growing up in a very vulnerable time for herself. She's realizing that she has friends that she loves and supports, and that they love and support her too. She is not as much of a loner as she thinks that she is, and so I thought the story outside of the physical elements of this book was very nice and very heartwarming and very charming. So 4 stars. Another new release that I read in February was Out of the Woods by Bonhamn-Young. This is the first book I've read by this author, and I know this is technically the second in an interconnected standalone. And basically the premise of this book is Sarah and Caleb were high school sweethearts. They got married at 19, and now almost 10 years later Sarah starts to feel like things haven't changed in their lives, and that Caleb is always coming to her rescue and playing the knight in shining armor role, and she's kind of just sick of that and is debating whether or not her relationship with him has just run its course when her best friend convinces her to go on a 7-day hiking retreat to help rekindle her relationship with her husband. I thought this was just okay. I personally didn't really like the two main characters. I thought they were kind of just blah and boring, and I understand Sarah's struggles and her wanting to feel independent and discover who she is outside of her relationship. I felt like she very much just like freaked out to the extreme, immediately thinking that she was gonna divorce him, and he like wasn't really gonna put up much of a fight. Even though the retreat like got them out of their comfort zone, I don't know, like part of me was just rooting for them to just break up, because I was sick of them just like fighting and struggling to communicate on one page and then the next page just lusting after one another. And I'm not sure at the end of it that their problems are really gonna end up being resolved long term. It was just kind of meh. Okay, I gave it 3 stars. If you like Hannah Bonhamn-Young, I'm sure you would like this book. I don't know, I was rooting for a not so happily ever after at the end of this. And then finally I have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This I was super, super, super excited for. The premise of this book is there's Lucy, who is a single mother, and Aiden, who is a romance hotline radio talk show host in Baltimore. And when Lucy's daughter calls into the romance hotline trying to help fix her mother's love life, Lucy gets invited to essentially be a co-host on the radio show and help her fall in love. And you can obviously imagine at the end of it, Aiden and Lucy end up falling in love. This was a really cute story. I really, really enjoyed it. I loved the relationship dynamic between Aiden and Lucy. I loved the family dynamic between Lucy and Maya's father. There wasn't much that I didn't like about this book. I gave it 4 stars though, and let me explain. Even though I love this book, it lost a star for me because I myself am a talk radio producer. That is my day job. And there were so many things that happened in this book that made me stress out and scream as a radio producer. They're late to shows, they're missing commercial breaks, there's dead air involved, they're ending shows early. I work for a major radio corporation, so things are very structured and things happen on a tight schedule. So I'm not sure if things are different when you are a small, like, local late night radio show. But from the standpoint of like, if your show starts at 7 p.m., your show starts at 7 p.m. You go live at 7 p.m. whether you're in front of the microphone or not. And like, there will be stretches of time where they'll just call in the traffic and weather guy to fill in and vamp for 10 minutes while they go have a conversation in the hallway. And the program director like doesn't do anything, doesn't care about it. And so from that standpoint, it was making me scream because it was so stressful. It's so stressful, which is so silly, but I stress about work enough at work. I felt like I didn't need to stress about work while reading a book. That was my only complaint about the book, however, is that the radio scenarios didn't seem all that realistic to me. From that standpoint, it was not enjoyable, but everything else about this book was great and amazing, and I highly, highly recommend it, even though I only gave it 4 stars. And then real quick, let's go over my March TBR. First, I'm gonna pick back up my Throne of Glass reread and do Heir of Fire. I started listening to this today in the car, and it felt really nice to just be back in this universe and this world. This year I am doing a complete Throne of Glass reread, but I'm listening to it all on audio, and it's been really fun so far, so I'm excited to continue that with this. And then I would like to read both the Au Pair Affair and Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. I've read Fangirl Down already, and I checked out the Au Pair Affair the other day from my local library, so I would like to read that. And then Dreamgirl Drama was a new release I bought in February. It has these really pretty sprayed edges, and I would like to be able to read this so I'm not collecting too many books and not reading them. And then the only other book that I would like to read this month is I have an ARC for Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. So that book actually comes out on Tuesday, March 4th, which is only like 4 days from now. And if I want to keep up my good streak on NetGalley, I kind of need to buckle down this weekend and read that. Once I start, it shouldn't be a problem finishing it. It's just, sometimes I find it hard to find motivation to actually start reading books, but once I start, I can finish them no problem. So I think that's going to be the plan starting tonight, is to buckle down and read my Arc of Fable and then get into reading my 2 Tessa Bailey books, and I'll listen to Arrow Fire while I drive to and from work this month. But yeah, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!